get that started. Let's get that started. Make sure things are good over here. Okay. Get this going. All right. Cool. Anyways, so let's get started. Welcome to the mock interview. Glad to have you here today. I'll just go over just quickly again, summarizing the format of the interview today, and then let me know if there's any questions. All right. So, like I said, 1 hour long. We're gonna go right into the question essentially, and we'll be working on it for about 45 minutes. Okay. And then we'll have 50 minutes at the end. That's going to be used for feedback for you, as well as any questions you have for me. We'll go through that at that point. How's that sound?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, cool. So I see you're logged into the CoderPad now. We'll get right into it. All right. So the first question we're going to be asking you today is about a palindrome. So do you know what palindromes are?
Yeah, I'm familiar with the term, but could you briefly explain?
Yeah, no worries. So a palindrome is a string. It's a type of string, and the string we call it palindromic if the string is the same if you read it forwards or backwards. All right.
Uh-huh.
And for the purpose of this for this problem here, okay, we're only going to be considering lowercase English letters.
Okay, sounds good.
So if something is not a lowercase English letter, we are going to ignore it. Does that make sense?
As in, like, it won't be counted towards our check if
That's right. It
the
won't
string
be
overall is forward backwards. Okay.
exactly. It will not be. It will still be in. It might still be in the string. I don't know. It might be in the string, but we but it is not. But we don't care about it essentially.
Okay, yeah.
Does that make sense? By the way, is Python? By the way, I should have asked you earlier. What's your preferred language? I mean, we could
Oh
change
yeah.
language. Python's
No,
good.
Python 3 works. Yeah.
Okay. Just double check. All right, good. Okay, so that's kind of the opening. Okay, now there's a bit of a so here's the actual problem. So I want you to check if a string is palindromic,
Yeah.
but if it's not palindromic, you can delete one character from it.
Wait, so check if the string is palindromic, and
Yes.
if it's not, then delete a character.
Yes.
Are
I
we
mean, if it is,
okay.
then it's good. If it's not, you can try to delete a character from it, any character at any point, and then make
Okay.
it palindromic. And then if you're able to make it palindromic after deleting one character, then it's a good string. It's you should return true. And if you can't make it palindromic after deleting one character, then it is then you should return false. It's not possible to be made into a palindrome.
Oh, okay, I see. So just like I guess restate the problem. We're given a string, and we can assume it's all lowercase or no?
Nope, you cannot assume it's all lowercase.
Okay. So given a string of English characters that may be either lower and upper string, we check to see if it's palindromic or not. If it is, we return a boolean that's true. And if it's not, we then try to delete any one character within the string, and then we check again to see if that turns into a palindrome. If it's not, then we return false.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. Let me just write this down quick. Check this. If someone write this down. If not, return false. Yeah, sounds good. Are there any sort of constraints to actually be worried about right now, or no?
Constraints wise, don't worry about those for now.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. My first. Okay, I see. The palindrome check is pretty. It's pretty straightforward. We could either just do a. Oh yeah, sorry. Just can I ask a clarifying question? Are we allowed to use any sort of like built-in functions, like for instance, like reverse?
Yeah, you can use reverse.
Okay. All right. Then I guess in that case, I was originally going to say we can do a like left and right pointer check to check if it's palindromic. But that would, I guess, require more implementation, so we can instead try for the reverse. But now I'm thinking of a way to then include that check where we delete a character and check to see if we can become palindromic based off that. Let me just think for a second in my head.
Yeah, no worries.
Can I go through example? If that's okay.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think that's great.
Okay. Okay. Say we get the string race car. This by default is palindromic because R, like the beginning of the string is an R, so is the end, and then we have an A and A, and then C and C, and then E. So this is palindromic. If we say add, let's say like an R here, we then run the check again, and we see that like so far, like if we go check left and right, it's palindromic. If we check left, the beginning and the end of the string is what I mean by left and right. It's also palindromic. But then we come across this issue of R and C. So and then this breaks our case. So what we could do, I guess, instead is if we come across an issue where we like the clause is broken, like of it being palindromic, we can try to remove that string and then check again from the beginning and try to go through the pass. If we come across another problem, then we can just return false. But like if you come across another issue where like one character is different than the other, then we should return false. So I guess that would be my implementation. Like I would start off with like a string, and then have initialize a pointer from like a right and left one. So the right denotes to the end of the string, and then the left one would be the beginning. Then I would increment the left one, decrement the right one by one, until I either reach like a palindrome straight where like everything is matching, or I reach a state where one character, like one character is different than the other. Then I try to like remove the character and then check again. And if within the next check everything is good, then I return true. If it's not, then I return false. I guess that's like the main implementation I want to like add. But now I want to try to figure out how I go about removing the character. Maybe okay. Let me see. Oh, actually, sorry. Before I continue, can I assume that that I will always get a string, or can the input of the function or like the input value can it be empty?
It's always a string type, but I mean,
Can it be an empty string?
Yeah, I mean, empty string is a valid string. Yeah.
Okay, I see. And then I guess that would be an edge case. Okay, I guess what we can do then is probably I think of how I could check. I guess maybe okay. What if I like for like so now I'm thinking about how like to implement our previous like solution where we remove like we check the string, and then if there's a character, we remove it and then try again with the check. Trying to see how I like implement that. What if we instead like during like our process, we build the string up, and whenever we come across an issue, we just we start again, but we wait no.
So
No,
so
okay.
so what are we thinking about here?
I'm right now thinking of how I should like tackle this like remove string and try again check.
Yeah.
Like because my issue is like how do I I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around how do I like properly remove this like foul character within the string and still be able to check it again, because like within Python you can't necessarily just like remove a string. Oh, I guess actually, hold on, sorry. What if like within Python, what if instead like we have our pointers, like sorry, we have the string again, and then during like let's say we come across this foul character, we can just do like a sort of concatenation of the string again, where okay, let's say this is str's this. We can do like str like from like str is equal to str from whatever index we're at. So for this example, it would be so R here. This would be index. This is like how long is this? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is like index 7, 6, 5. So in this case, we could do like some sort of concatenation where we go from 0 all the way to 5, and then just add here would be like 6 all the way to the end, like some sort of something like that. So whatever, and then this number, like the 5 and 6, would just be like it'd be like the index position of whatever pointer is the is pointing to like the issue, like the foul character. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
yeah, okay, so yeah, this would be like us, like in the case where if we get a foul character, we would reconstruct, we would update our string and then iterate through it again. And then if we come across a foul character again, we should return false.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
Does that sound good?
I did want to ask, why exactly are we modifying the string? Is there a reason for that?
It's so that we can update the string, because we were asked to remove a character from the string, and then once removing the character, we check to see if it's still palindromic. This is like you're removing the character portion.
Well, yes, we are removing the character to check if it's palindromic, but we're removing it to check if it's palindromic, right? We don't actually care. Like we don't actually care what the string is. Like we don't need to necessarily modify the string itself to check if had we deleted a character it would be palindromic.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I see what you mean. Well, okay, yeah, you're right. What if we instead just jump a pointer? Like we just it's a foul play, but we just jump pointers. Like we continue on the search, and then if you come across like another foul character, we just return false.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Like
yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, then okay, you're right. In that case, then we could just have like some sort of like variable, like a counter, maybe like a number of like foul characters, and then if this exceeds our threshold, which is like 1, we can expect 0, and if it exceeds 1, then we would return false, and the foul character would increment anytime we have like a foul character. Essentially, like if the 2 pointers don't match with what they're pointing to character wise, then we would increment it, and then we check if this ever reaches above a value of 1. Does that work?
Yep, I think I got what you said. Go for it.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Resolve, and then we can get string here, and then we would initialize our left to 0, and then actually right is then equal to length of str -1. Length of str, yeah, -1. Okay. Why am I blanking? Okay, this should work. Let's make. While left is less than or equal to right. And then do a check here. We just increment, we first check.
I think you need to use the right variable in the length there, by the way.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, string, there we go. Because otherwise, yeah, I'm checking the length of a class string. Or like a variable type, sorry. Yeah, okay, then we just also forgot the num of foul characters be equal to 0, and then we can check the beginning right here. We're gonna update. Actually, I'll just explain in a bit. Because since like as soon as we get a foul character, we're gonna update the counter and like by 1, and then we're gonna update the counter by 1, and then update our pointer variables. So we want to always check within like the next iteration of the updating our pointers, check to see if we've found a foul character from like previous iterations of us moving the pointers. And if we did, we just return false right away without having to like execute all the other code. Is greater than 1, return false. And then yeah, and then we just check if we say doesn't equal, and then right here we're checking to see if the strings don't equal, and then we'd increment by what's it called? We increment our file counter by 1. If they do equal, we can just keep checking, and then if actually I'll explain it in a bit. So this would be num character plus equal 1, and then yeah, and then we can do continue. No, this doesn't mean that. And then we just increment 1 here. increment our pointers, and then increment our left one, decrement our left, increment our left one, decrement our right one.
Okay.
At the very end, and then we, and then yeah, this would be this, and then return. Let me just write this down and explain what I just did. Yeah, essentially what we're checking here is if we initialize our pointers, which was left and right, and then our counter, and then with this while loop, essentially what it does is we're going through the we're going through the string one by one, where the left points to the left side of the left point points to the left side of the string, and the right one points to the right side, and we're checking to see if we come across two characters that aren't the same. If we do, we increment our foul counter by 1, and if we reach if our counter somehow reaches greater than 1, which means we have more than one foul character, then we return false by default. If there's no issue at all, then we return true, and then because that then means we have a palindromic character.
Okay, I see. Yeah, I see where you are. Can we run through your example with race car with the extra R here?
Yeah.
So because we agree those should be true, right? Like because if you remove this R, it should be correct.
If you remove this R, it should be correct.
So this function should return true, right?
Yes. Okay. Actually, let me run this code through an example and see if this will work.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we initialize all left and right to be 0 and the length of this -1. So at first, this would be true case. R and R is the same. That would work. A and A would be the same. That would work. R and C would be an issue.
Right. So let's walk through a bit. So we start out with our left point over here, and
yes,
the right point over here, right?
Yes.
Okay. So now walk me through.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good. Okay, so this first check left and right are the same. So we're good to go. We'll just increment L to be over here. And then we decrement R to go one down. We check again. This looks good. We'd increment again. Left be C, C. And then R would then be, right here, R. And then here we have an issue where L and R are not the same. So what we do is we increment foul counter by 1. And then we still move our variables. Our pointers to +1, so we'd reach L would be then equal to E, and then R would then equal to C, and then in this case, all the way this wouldn't. Oh, okay, I see. Wait, So actually, let me clarify then. If we remove R, do we then are we checking to see like with this? Oh, I see. Because if you remove R here, then technically, because we remove R here, this then becomes it's palindromic. However, like where I'm initializing the pointers kind of messes it up because I'm incrementing without checking again, which creates a false flag. But that doesn't make sense. But I know. But it doesn't make sense necessarily. But I know what you mean. Okay, then that's an issue. How do I solve this? I guess if let me run through this example again. I have to figure out a way of which variable to properly, which pointer to properly increment or decrement. So if race car with an R is an issue, how do I decide which one to remove? Okay, because we know like inherently that R is the wrong one, but we don't know R is the wrong one active within the code. So which one do I decide to remove? I guess we can check to see. We can look at R and then C as well. So they apply to both of these. Whenever we have the case where two characters are mismatching, we can maybe check to see we can +1 and look over 1 and check to see if. Okay, no. Let me think.
Okay, hold on here. So before your R, I believe was over here. Was it over here or was it over here?
Was it okay? I think it was over here.
Okay. So the thing is in this case when you iterate, it doesn't really matter in my case. In this case, when you iterate through the first 3, these all match.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right. So that's not going to be even if you could remove any of those 3, you wouldn't because then it would be wrong.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So you actually because again you can choose to remove 1 or you can remove nothing. Right. So you would lean towards not removing any characters if possible. Right. Does that make sense? Okay. So
wait, sorry. Can you elaborate that? Because if we don't remove characters, then it still becomes non-palindromic, right? We must remove.
My point is that if you don't have to remove characters, you would not remove characters.
Okay. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So when you look at the first 3 and the last 3 in this case, right? these match,
Mhm.
so you would never remove any of those three, even if
Yes.
you could, right? Like you would never remove them because they match. So
Mhm.
the question then becomes, you're coming in, these three match, and these three problems, basically, we can just remove them. So I won't actually remove them. What I'll do is I'll just copy this down a line. All right, so these three sub problems are gone. These three problems are gone. Now you're left with these, right? LR, boom. Right? This is your problem now.
Mhm.
Okay? What's going on here? Well, this is not correct. Like this is not a palindrome. When you meet a situation where your left and right string don't match, you have to remove one of them. Right? You have to
Okay, I
remove one
see.
of them. There's no way.
Mhm.
There's no way to reconcile it. You have to remove one of them. Now, here's the thing. In this problem, it doesn't matter which of these two you remove. Where let's say
Because either or, yeah.
yeah, because you remove this one, then it's correct again.
Mhm.
Right? So in other words, there's a case where, so we kind of found two cases, right? Where when things match, you never remove anything. When things don't match, you have to remove one. Now, let's talk about that in more detail. Okay? So, let's say this is our subproblem. Okay? We have this is our right pointer, this is our left pointer, right? This is so R and R match, right? This is over here now. Oops. This over here now, this over here now. A and A match, so this is chill. Over here, right? So now, so A and R match, we don't care about A and R, right? Now we're
Oh
at
yeah.
C and R, right? C and R don't match. We have to remove one of them. So first of all, how should you decide which one to remove?
Well, okay. Inherently, we want to remove one such that like we don't create another issue where like the next check also creates like a like a foul character. So
Yeah, right.
maybe we
Yeah, exactly. So in
yeah.
other words, we have two options. We can end up with so we can end up with the same thing. So we can end up with we can remove the R, right? So in this case, let's call it remove right, right? In this case, I'm gonna just copy this down. Oops, copy too many. In this case, we remove left, right? So this would be so we would remove this guy. Oops, oh, we remove this guy.
Mhm.
Did I do that right?
Oh, okay.
So you can remove R or you can remove this would be C.
Yes. Okay, I see. And then
Right?
oh, okay. What if
You end up with
yeah?
the thing is that you end up with two.
Between two, so like two, it's like we end up with two like new solutions of what would then
Yes.
like what would each one look like, and then maybe we could do like the reverse. Like if this looks the same reverse, then we return true. If it doesn't, then we return false.
Okay, but which one, right? Like think about this very clearly. So, but at this point, right? At this point, when you're choosing which one to remove, you don't know that it would be a palindrome necessarily because you still haven't calculated the middle yet, right?
You don't know if it's because you could well, what couldn't you do that couldn't you use like the reverse function
I mean,
within
you could,
Python and just check there?
I mean, you
Okay,
could,
okay,
but you could also do that at the start, like what, With that argument, you could just use that over here. But no. But I mean, you could. I did allow it. That's fine. But I want to be clear about
okay,
that, right?
yeah, yeah.
Whenever you come across a situation where two characters don't match, you have to delete one. And the question is, which one do you delete? Right now, I'm gonna let you take it from here with this logic over here, right? So in this case, you can either remove the C or the R. You end up with two different strings, right?
Mhm.
And you can. By the way, you might need to modify some of your code over here to handle that case. Okay,
Okay,
so I'm gonna have you take it from here and let's see what you can come up with.
okay, okay, sounds good. Um, would it be okay if I went with what I suggested earlier, the function, or
Yeah, you can. I mean, you could do whatever you like. Yeah, I'm just giving you a bit of guidance on this specific part. Yeah.
okay, I see. Okay, yeah, thank you. Okay. Well, I guess yeah. In that case, because we're only maybe we don't even necessarily need the foul like the counter, because if you run across the issue once, we can do this. We can like I guess like do our like like two instances of like possibility, like two different worlds where we remove the right or left character and check to see within either those two worlds if we can get a palindrome, if that makes sense. So actually let me, and I did too much code. This isn't necessary for now. Delete it. If it's the case where this happens, we can what's it called? Let me see. Okay. Okay, string left. If string left's a problem, we could try. I'm having a hard time putting what I'm thinking right now. Okay, okay. In this if statement, like we come across two characters that aren't the same. We want to remove remove the left one, check to see if we do remove it, if we get a palindrome, and then the same for the right, and then whichever one, like if either of those cases are true, like that it becomes palindromic, then we return true. Otherwise, we return false. So then we could do a return, and then in like a big bracket, or to like and set like to showcase two alternate realities. I'm not sure what the exact function it is. I want to say it's this. I don't think it's this, but is it okay to look up the documentation to figure out which one?
Are you just looking to reverse the string?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can look it up, but I'll just tell you. It's you can do. Oops, that's the wrong bracket.
Okay, okay.
That's how you reverse the string.
Okay. Okay. I guess yeah, and then maybe we do like remove left, like what it looked like if you remove the left one, so it would be be then blank all the way to left, and then plus right and onward. And then yeah, and then we would reverse this if turn this if this is reversed, then equal to it being regular. I copy too much. Or and then we just run the same thing. So we're initializing. Let me just write this down and explain. And then do the same idea here. Initialize up to wait, hold on. If we remove. No, okay, this makes sense, but this the logic backwards here. If I'm removing the right one, I then no, this would make sense. I'm removing the right one. Cool, right, and then all the way from left. No, because left would be behind it. That makes sense. It'd be like, oh, let me copy this again. It would be you start from all the way to the right, and then you do right plus one, and then all the way to the end. I want to say this makes sense. You all the way from where you are to the right, and then plus one, and then just check the same logic here applies. I'll just copy paste this. It's a little ugly. I'll just do it. Yeah. Yes. Let me just do a quick sanity check. Example.
Yeah, can we sanity check these indices, please?
Yes, I think this. I'm having trouble with this because I feel like this might be like these two can be out of bounds. Because like say we run across the first like let's say the first instance is a foul character, right? So this is like a capital A or something. Then like right away I'm then gonna be initializing two new variables with yeah, I'm gonna be initializing two new variables. So in this case, right would be an issue because if I'm going right plus one, then this would be out of bounds.
Well, hold on. How about left?
Left would also left would also be. Oh, I see. No, that's okay. Yeah. Okay, wait. It would be from 0 all the way to. If I'm removing left, then okay. So okay, let me go to left first. If left is A, and It doesn't matter if I remove or not. If I want to remove left, then I have to go left +1 right here. So you start off with left +1, but the issue is I also have to keep into account the stuff that was previous before it. Okay, this was so there's two cases. I thought it was simpler in my head. Okay, we can't do left +1. Like in this case, left +1 worked because like at the beginning of the string, there's nothing behind left. But if it's the case where the issue say arises here, if I do left +1, then I'm just like I'm all this previously that's just like gets ignored, which is not good. So I have to
Right. So I mean, I think you're right about that. You are looking at something to do with the left. Now, since you're skipping the current left character, it would be left +1. What's your concern with left +1 being the starting index? Oh, I see. Okay, you want left +1 to be the ending index.
yeah, the ending. So like originally like I left because like within the Python string like placing a string, the end index never gets counted. So I was like using that to my like to implement, but that is an issue. I feel
Oh,
like.
okay. I see some confusion here. So, um, in this case, we remove the left. We want to end up. So if you read it naively, it would be like this, right, like this. But the thing is
Yes.
if R and A are already matching, this is our leftover string, right?
Hmm.
And when we want to remove left, we want to end up with just EC, right? We don't want ECAR,
Oh yes. Okay.
right? So actually what we want to do in this case is we want to start at left +1 and don't end at the end. Like we don't want to end over here. Like we want to end on a C,
Hmm.
right? And
Wait.
so
So
we
then,
start at left +1 and we end at what?
I'm not sure. Continue on.
Oh no, I'm trying to have you fill in the blanks, right?
Okay,
So we
sorry.
start
+1.
right. So this is our L, and this is our sorry R,
Okay.
right? We want to end with
Yes.
EC,
If we're removing the left one, okay.
right?
So
Doesn't
then
isn't
we
this
would.
isn't
Okay. Yeah.
because your goal is to check if EC is a palindrome, right? Isn't that your goal?
Well, no. Originally, my goal was to actually remove like either character and then check if removing the character check the full string if
Oh,
it's a
the
palindrome.
full string. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, that works too. That works too. So go ahead. Go ahead with that. Sorry, I thought you were trying to
Okay.
just check the sub, like the inside problem.
No, no,
But it's
no,
okay.
no, no.
Okay.
That's why I was kind of concatenating with this. Um. Okay. 0 all the way to left. Mm,
Yeah.
Let me
Okay.
just run do a model. Yeah, because then okay. Regardless, so if A is the beginning, we're still catching it with this, and then all the way to the end, like since it's like the ending, we're not like ending is on like splicing a string and the end doesn't get added onto it. So like this seems good, and then we start from left +1 here, and then after that we add everything else.
Yep.
Right here you go all the way to the right, and then you just do right +1. The issue is here because like this is okay because left will never be greater than right. Therefore, there's no issue of out of bounds. 'Cause
Yeah.
otherwise, like you never like the while doesn't run. The issue with the right though is we can have an out of bounds issue, and so um if right say let's say at the very beginning we come across the race car at the very beginning, so this is like a whatever we want to remove this. um if we want to remove a, we have to increment it by +1, but then we're out of bounds. So um, maybe we could do like a if statement to check to see if this would be a problem, and like if right is the last index, then we could just do like just we literally just do string from beginning up all the way to the right, and then return that right because that won't include it. Maybe do like if right is equal right +1. Sorry, right +1 is equal to length of string. Then we would splice it like this. Let me copy this. You just you splice like so.
Okay.
Else, we would splice it like this instead. We would start beginning, and then we could do one, and then this should okay. Or like we can do like greater than or equal to, just in case, but this should be fine. And then we splice like that, and then at the very end we would return. If either of these return true, meaning like either of them are palindromic, then we're good. If both of them are false, then we return false. Because after this, if this check doesn't change it, then no other checks matter. Because we're checking if we remove one character, and then and then like if this check never even gets ran, then we just then we know all characters are good to go. Then we return true.
Is this one supposed to be starting out right plus one
sorry.
instead of ending there?
No, yeah, it's supposed to be. Sorry, yeah, it's supposed to be ending right here, like this, and continue on.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And then
Okay. So.
Oh, sorry, this is bugged.
Return that or remove equals. Okay. All right. Cool. I want to just quickly talk about the time and space complexity of the solution, please.
Okay. The space complexity would be constant because we're not like initializing a variable. I mean, it's for like a list that's corresponding to like the length of our string. So we just have like a bunch of constants here. So left, right, the pointers, and then that's essentially it. Actually, no, sorry, that's not true, because we initialize these. So the worst case would be O of 2n, but because we're initializing both these are like the both main ones, but then we can just like drop to 2 and just say O of n, a worst case. The space, sorry, that was the space complexity. The time complexity would be, since we're doing like a left-right pointer, it would be log of n.
Sorry. Sorry, was that time or space at the beginning that you said?
At the beginning was space, sorry, I went backwards.
Okay, so space is what?
O of n.
Okay.
Then time would be O log of n, because at most we check the string.
You check the string. What does that mean? Can you elaborate?
So like half of the string, cause essentially, because the pointers check one, like for each iteration, we're checking, like both. Explain this. Okay, so for this race car, in this case, this is true. We're always gonna worst case, we're only gonna run through a loop halfway through the string. So, and then O log of n would capture that. Like the pointers, like we're incrementing and decrementing, so it'd go like down or up all the way up to the middle of the string. And that would be log n. That's the case.
So would that be log n or would that be linear? Like, what's the difference there?
Would that be log n or linear? The reason why it's not linear is because we don't like for each loop iteration. We're not checking like one variable for each loop iteration, because at most we're only gonna do like half. We do n over 2 checks within the loop. Like this will only run n over 2 max.
Okay, and is n over 2 considered linear or log?
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, not because n over 2 just 1 over 2 times n. So I guess it would be over n. Yeah. It involves log n. Okay.
Okay, so you think it's linear now? Okay.
Yeah, linear. Both will be linear.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, that sounds good. Now we have a bit of time left, so I want to ask a follow-up, and we likely won't have time for the follow-up, but I want to just see how you're thinking about this, approaching this solution. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So for this problem, it's the same setup as a palindrome, right? But now instead of the ability to delete a character, you can now modify a character. Okay, so what does that mean? Modify means you can't add or remove characters, but you can change a character to be anything you want. And the question is now, can a string be made palindromic if you can modify one character, or modify none, but like modify 0 or 1 characters?
Yeah, I see. Okay. I just repeat it real quick. Can the string, it's the same setup, but instead of removing a character, we're modifying a character.
Yes, correct, exactly.
Can a modification include a removing of character or no? It must be
No,
like
it
the
cannot.
character must stay in place and must be changed. Okay.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Okay. Then in that
So
case,
let's not so
my
let's not
high
touch
level.
this. So let's not touch this solution here. So you can work down there. All right. I want to just calm this out for us.
And yeah, I guess so far like the setup of us iterating through the string won't change. Our pointer initializations won't change either. The main logic that would change would be this check right here. So it's okay. So essentially, instead of removing a character, we want to have two different worlds then. So like be like mod sorry, left. And then essentially what I'm gonna do now is instead of removing the character, I'm gonna modify him. And the same setup. Where like I'm gonna have two different worlds. Where one, I modify the left character to equal the right, and then the other world would be modifying the right to equal the left. And then check to see again, like within the reverse check, like the return check to see if either of those like worlds return a palindrome. Does that make sense?
I think that makes sense. I'm following what you're saying. I think this is a matter of
Yes.
implementation. So why don't you get on that?
Okay.
I think we have
Okay,
a bit.
sounds
I
good.
mean, we can go until maybe like 50 or something. So you got like 10 minutes or so. Let's see what you can do.
Yeah, I'll try to be quick. So okay. Okay. Then I think it's because I need to have a temp variable to hold. This is I'll just do temp here. Actually, no, let me just delete all the stuff for the return to make this look nice. Just delete this too. Temp would be left, and then I'm gonna have that specifically would be and then for instance within mod left would then be equal to string all the way to, and copy this code right here. Instead, let me copy this part right here. Instead of removing it, we're gonna go here, and then instead of doing this, I'm gonna just add temp to it, so in the middle, and then maybe we don't need temp if I'm doing it like this. Then go temp. This will include left, and then go 1. Yeah, this will work. And then right, the same logic would be applied here. This was a little funny. Wish I remember the hotkey to comment.
It's
Mod
just
right.
for comment. You mean the
Is it-
hashtag? Oh, it's
No,
control slash. It's control slash.
Control slash. Okay.
Yeah.
I always forget that. Mod. Okay. Then, oops. Mod. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And then this world, we just instead, if it's the case, so temp here equals. I guess I could just do. Temp would be right. This is. And then this would then change. Yeah. And then this world, then just be left. And then we're adding left into the right. The one where we modify the right pointers to equal the left pointer's value. So then this would be right plus temp here. And then in this world, it's the same idea. We're like adding in the middle. And then we return. Yeah, then we would return the like Boolean expression of or mod equal to mod left 1 or mod right right is equal to mod right, and I think do a little one last. Here would be right, so then left. We skip over left plus like this is like us removing it right here technically. If you like don't have temp, but this since we're concatenating temp as well, we're adding temp in. So this is like us replacing the left pointer with the right value. Yeah, and then the same goes here. And then we're doing the opposite, same idea, and then this looks good to me.
Okay. Same question as before. What do you think is the time and space complexity here?
It's unchanged. I think this is the same
Unchanged?
for both. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Sounds good. Um, we got to that pretty fast. So I'm happy with that. So I want to just end the mock interview here and get into feedback. Um, and with that, so let me just quickly check my notes. Anything I wanted to say off the top? I mean, usually when I start these, I want to ask you first, right? How do you feel like you did? What do you feel like you did well? What do you feel like you struggled a little bit more with? Any thoughts like that?
I think usually like based on past performance, I think I communicated a little better than I usually do, but I still would like to improve that a lot. As for execution of code and like kind of get my idea off the ground or just thinking about a solution, it wasn't. I feel like I underperformed like greatly. So I wish I like did better in that regard. I feel like that was my biggest weakness, as well as maybe like sometimes not getting my what I'm saying across correctly. As well, like some ideas, like my thought process.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is that you have to, um, like a lot of it is that you have to be careful with how you communicate. It's not just a
Yeah.
matter of how good your idea is. That's one part, right? But the other part is if you have a good idea, you can't fumble the communication, right? You have to be very precise with it. You have to be careful with it. And sometimes if you don't know what's going on, that's okay to say as well, right? But what you don't want to
Mhm.
have is you don't want to have a good idea and then be incapable of talking about it well, right? Now, I mean, we can start the communication part. I think he actually had quite a few good ideas here, but some parts were talking a bit fast. Some
Okay.
parts were a
Yeah.
bit
Yeah. I guess.
fast.
Yeah.
Some parts you need to slow down. And, a lot of people like myself, we're native speakers. That's all fine. Some interviewers might not be native English speakers. Okay? And so then they're going to struggle a little, a bit more. Some of them won't struggle too much because, I mean, obviously, if you're communicating the same ideas, they'll know what's going on, right? But especially if
Mhm.
you're off the main path, if you're doing something a bit more weird, right? They might be a little hesitant. So just make sure that whenever you do talk about an idea, first of all, you get buy-in, right? You ask them, hey, do you understand? Hey, how do you feel about that? That's what you did today. I think that was quite good. Okay. But other times you might need to just slow yourself down a little bit, right? Just to check yourself. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So that's something I want to open up with. Now, a couple things I think, just to kind of run through. Great use of the built-ins reversed. I think that's a good thing. By the way, good that you asked, right? If you're not sure if you can use a built-in function, always ask. Doesn't hurt, right? Worst case is say no, you can't use it, and then you're not worse off than you were before, right?
Mhm.
Good at the beginning. Use some examples, right? Examples are always good. Usually, by the way, with examples, especially if it's a relatively simple problem, you can come up with a couple examples, right? You can come up with a couple of them.
Yeah.
There's this one thing I saw. A lot of people were talking about this example actually. So we had race car, right?
Mhm.
I'll put it over here. So we have race car. This is a basic one, and then you have race car, and you put an extra character at the end, no, somewhere in the middle, and then you
Yeah.
put the race car,
And at the
someone
end
at
as
the end,
well.
right? Now these are two kind of good, I would say, basic examples I would expect you to come up with, and the reason is
Mhm.
because, in this case, it doesn't matter which of the middle two characters you remove.
Yeah. Yeah. Either way, you still.
Either
Yeah.
way, it's going to be okay. But in this case, right, for these two, it does matter which of the two you remove. Or I guess
Mhm.
in this case, it's a bad example because these actually do match. Let's just do like X, right? In this case, it does matter. Right, so just be aware of that. Sometimes it's really going to matter, and you need to be careful about these kind of test cases, right? For example, if this was your only example, which it wasn't, thankfully, but if this was your only example, then you would have not realized that there's actually two sub problems, right? There's two problems that can arise from removing either one, right? Well, if you had this problem, then that would have been obvious. So be aware
Yeah.
when you're spending the time to make examples, try to make better ones, try to make more representative examples. Okay?
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
Edge
I
cases
feel like
wise,
my edge cases. Yeah.
I think he still did okay. Empty string, that was, I think you talked about, I want that was well done. Now, one thing you didn't talk about is how your solution actually handles empty string. In this case, it's not a big
Oh.
deal, but you didn't, but I feel like that could have been a bit more explicit. And by the way, if you had written all the examples out of the front, this is very, very rapid fire. Boom, example one, okay, this is handled like this. Boom, example two, all right, we do it this way, it's handled like this. Example three, etc. Right? So having that organization not only helps yourself but also helps the interviewer.
Mhm.
right? Um, this is a bit of a note I put here is that you asked about the character set early. So character set in this context, by the way, means what characters are available to be put into the input, right? So this is something
Oh
we talked
yeah.
about earlier. You asked about it. In this case, in this problem, it didn't really matter. That wasn't what I was trying to test, okay? Um, but it is something which you want to just make sure that you're asking something you follow through. So if you ask about, hey, are commas allowed? Are these symbols allowed? Right, make sure you handle those in the input, or you get very clear, or you get very strong clarification. Hey, you know what? Those are allowed, but let's say for the problem, we won't allow any non-alphanumeric character or non-alphabet characters, right?
Mhm.
So if you're asking about something, make sure you follow through with it. Otherwise, it might be a bit weird. Hey, he just asked this question that was kind of random, but that's kind of whatever, right? This is a more general thing I wanted to talk about, which is the goal. Every time you're doing something in an interview, your immediate goal must be very obvious. And for two reasons. Your immediate goal must be obvious because I need to know what you're trying to do. And two, I need to know if I should tell you to stop. Right? An example of this is where were you? You were over here.
The variable, the variable part,
You were
or
trying to
oh,
over here where you were trying to remove part of the string. Now I was confused, and you were also confused because you couldn't figure out the indices. But I was confused about
mhm.
what you were even trying to do with the indices, right? I thought you were
Oh
trying
yes,
to,
yes.
only remove one character and then go into the sub problem. So I thought you were trying to remove characters and go into this case, but you were actually trying to remove one character and go into everything else case,
Mhm.
right? So that part was not clear to me. And by the way, that would have been more clear if you just talk more about your goal as you go, not just talking about what your immediate index problem is, etc. Talk a bit more high level sometimes. That helps as well. Now, where your
Yeah.
goal was obvious, for example, was when you're talking about things like, hey, I want to reverse the string, I want to compare the reverse string versus the current string, right? That goal is very easy to understand, and that is very good. And in that case, I chose to step in and help you out because that's not part of the test, right? But now that's the example of where, oh, I understood what your goal is, and because your goal is not part of the test, I will just give that to you, right?
Mhm.
Now, in that case, you kind of lucked out. But even if that wasn't something, even if that was something which was on the test, me understanding your goal is still a good thing, because now I would understand. Oh, okay, he is now entering a critical part of the problem. Let's see how he does. Right. So just be aware of that. That's very very important. Always make your goal clear. In the best case, they can help you out. In the worst case, they at least know what you're struggling with, and they can move to the different part of the problem if you get stuck. Right. So the goal part is really important. I want to just check in. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everything makes sense so far.
All
Yeah.
right, cool. So the next piece of feedback I had here was about the Python fundamentals. Um, I don't know if you're new to Leetcode, you might be a bit newer, and that's obviously fine. Yeah, I'm gonna start somewhere. I think it's also worth for a lot of people, and I think this applies to you. If you're picking Python for your interview, make sure you get some of the Python fundamentals down a bit more straight, right? So, for
Mhm.
example, I think things like knowing how to reverse a string, you can't really be asking that, okay? You
Yeah,
can't
that's
really be
fair.
asking that, okay? Stuff like that, you just have to, like, you kind of have to know. Now, in this case, again, this is a mock interview. I don't really care about you struggling on that. I'll just give it to you, right? But in a real interview, they're going to see, okay, this guy chose Python, and they don't know how to reverse a string. That's a bit of a problem, okay? Similarly, how do you remove a character from a string? Removing from strings by index, by character, by unique, by anything like these kind of things, you have to just practice a little bit and get them under your wing, okay? Those are sub problems. Those are very basic building blocks, and you cannot struggle on the basic building blocks. Okay, so just be aware that's something which when you get to interviews, people assume is not going to be a problem. Similarly, string indices and or in this case, in general, list comprehensions, right? Um,
Mhm.
I you, you know what they are. That's good. Okay, so you know what they are.
Yeah.
So
No,
good
yeah, yeah.
starting
I
point,
understand that.
right? But I'm not gonna hammer it. But like, just be aware when people are gonna see this problem, like palindrome, for example, right? They don't want to see you struggle on the on indices. And similarly,
Mhm.
one thing that I think this is something which you probably just didn't know, but in this case, if your starting index, by the way, is out of bounds, it's not a problem. It just
Oh,
doesn't
it's not.
put anything.
Oh,
No. So again, right, that's something which if you don't know, I mean, it's not like you fail the interview, but it's like this guy doesn't actually write Python, right? All right, so um, all right, moving at high level a little bit more. I think goal setting, goal communication, that's the most important part, right? That's kind of everything. Everything else is kind of small details. You can figure that out, right? Goal setting, communication, always going to be the most important, and that's going to be true, by the way, regardless of the interview. Right now, you're doing a Leetcode. In the future, you do a system design. In the future, you do an object-oriented design, whatever it is, right? Those are all going to be common themes because that, like, the goal setting part doesn't depend on the actual type of problem you're trying to solve, right? That's an approach kind of thing, right? How do you approach the problem, right? The last thing the last thing I'll touch on here, just like some details, and then of course, there's time for you to ask questions. Time complexity, space complexity, a little bit rusty, I think.
Yeah.
Right, a little bit rusty. Stuff like this, I think, probably comes with practice. But especially when the interviewer is asking about details on stuff like that, chances are you're wrong. Chances are you're wrong, and it's about time you figure out what's going on. Why they asked me that? Are they just confused, or are they hinting that I should be thinking of something else? So I think, in general, that's something you can definitely improve on. And by the way, for this specific problem, when you were justifying the time complexity being log n, as you know, the time complexity is the worst case complexity. And the worst case complexity is never your iteration order, but remember, it is the fact you're doing this, right? And this doesn't depend on how many times you order, because this is always going to be in -1 characters. So,
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the second problem, the follow-up problem, I mean, I'll send you the link after. You can go do the problem yourself again. I won't hammer on that one. Any questions you have for me?
Yes. No, I mean, generally no, because I feel like you covered everything. Because like thinking back, I think my issue was like the communication. Because sometimes whenever I'm like anxious, I just talk too fast. Like I feel like I lose the other party on like what I'm thinking. So that's like a big thing. As well as like also just communicating. I mean, it goes hand in hand with like talking fast, but like communicating where I'm at in my head, like my goal of like what I want to do. I feel like is an issue. And then also I'm misagreeing with what you said essentially, but also like having like poor like fundamentals with Python like makes it hard for me to implement like what my thoughts are. That's why I get stuck on like this like stuff like indices, like if am I out of bounds, or like is this like how to reverse a string or stuff like that. But yeah, I agree. I guess one big thing is like because you did help me at this part right here where you like did the remove left right would like negate it against like somebody in general, like if you like came like on to help, like give a hint or like guide like where the person's going.
Yeah.
That would. Okay.
Sorry. What's the question?
Oh no, sorry. I'm saying like because like at this part right here, I was a little lost with I think
Yeah.
it was the indices. You kind of like guided me and like okay like say we remove the left and right one, like what would that look like? Like was that part, would that like negate against my final, I guess, like grading of like how I did like
I mean,
in
yeah,
like
it
an
definitely,
actual interview?
yeah, I mean, it definitely would be a negative for the interview because managing indices for this problem is the entire problem. But like I said, right, if your goal is clear to the interviewer, in this case, I read between the lines and understood your confusion is not that there are two problems, but you just literally cannot figure out what the index value should be. So in that
Yeah.
case, I said, okay, well, I can step in and help you figure out that the index value should be left +1 or something, right? So I can target my help towards that specific part, and you notice I said something like, oh, "Okay, I'll have you take it from here," right? So I didn't want to
Okay.
give
Yeah.
away the
Yeah.
hint yet that there are two subproblems, for example, right? So I mean, again, if your goals are very clear and therefore I understand exactly what you're struggling with, I can choose to step in and then help you on a specific part. Obviously, I might have helped more than just that one part here, but yes, in general, it will be a negative, but you can limit how negative it is by making it very clear to the interviewer exactly what you're stuck on.
Okay. Yes, that sounds good. Okay. Thank you. I guess yeah. That's all from me.
Okay. Well then, thank you very
Thank you so
much
much.
for your time, and good
Um.
luck.
Thank you. You too. Thank you.
All right, I'll send this guy his notes. Note. Send the guy his notes, and then we'll move on to the resume review. Some stuff going on in chat. All right, start practicing. Yeah. Yeah. What do you do if you do not know a question? I mean, like, okay, so there's two types of not knowing a question. The first type of not knowing a question is, holy shit, what the hell is going on? Like, I have no clue what's going on. That is usually, by the way, like a mental state. Like you're just nervous, you're panicking, etc. In that case, typically speaking, when you're in the interview, you just got to say it. Like, hey, look, I don't know what's going on. I'm having trouble understanding the problem, etc. That's usually like a thing where you have like a panic attack or something. That's usually not good, right? Understandable. Now, if you're able to still think clearly and you just recognize you don't know what's going on, then you should always be doing something like, okay, well, like I read the problem, I don't know what exactly this is, what this means, I don't know the approach yet. Well, what you should do first is you should write out an example, go through the paces, right? Do the example, get the edge cases, get the types together, right? And then start working through it from a human fashion, right? And if even then you still can't think of something, then do the brute force option, right? There's always a brute force option. Do the brute force option. Go from there. And as you're working on the brute force one, as you're implementing it, you should think to yourself, what patterns are going on here? What is going on? Like, am I going through a list in a nested for loop? Okay, that probably means I can save complexity using a hash map somewhere. Am I going through a tree and I'm tracking the parents in all this way? Well, I can probably pre-process a tree with the parent pointers, right? Like, there's always something you can do while you're working through the brute force solution that can help you later on. Now, obviously, if by the time you're already implementing the brute force one, you're probably not doing too hot, right? But it's not like there's a secret method to pass all interviews. No, obviously not, right? Like there is a limit to how well a strategy will work, but there's always an approach that you can use to at least maximize your current performance. Probably ask for hints. Always ask for hints. If you're stuck, ask for hints. At least that way you'll fail on something else and not the first part. All right. Let's go to resume review. Where is this from? What does that mean? This is a mock interview from my channel. If you have a question to what if you know exactly how to solve the question, I think it's better to LARP as if you don't know it. Oh, if you know how to solve a question, I mean, I'm an interviewer, so obviously I'm biased. The truth is that I feel like I'm pretty good at detecting cases where the candidate knows the question but pretends to not know the question. And that is typically because they come out with a solution that makes no sense. Like, that solution only makes sense if they know the follow-up and or they are bad at engineering. Like, they over-engineer and over-design problems. Because it's rarely the case that the question you start with is the final form of the question, right? Like, I'm not going to start up like, for example, this candidate here, this was not the final question, right? Like we ran out of time, so I asked him we ran out of time, so I asked him an easy variation. This is not the final form of the question. The final form of the question, which someone actually guessed correctly in chat, by the way, is if you can, it's not this follow-up, but instead if you can remove or modify k characters in the sequence. So if you're coming out with palindrome, solving something with like a DP or with a memo or with a very very well boundaried 2D recursion, I'm gonna go like, okay, this is weird. You're obviously optimizing for something else that we haven't asked yet, and so I will pivot the problem to something else, right? So I would say, but obviously some people are very good at acting. And so, sure, they can get away with it. But again, then you're not being tested on your technical skill, you're being tested on your communication skill, and your ability to answer follow-ups, right? So it's just a different skill being tested, although in that case, obviously, you would get an advantage. Ask hints. How you mean, like, straight up ask, can you give a hint? Okay, if you're having a panic attack, admit that you cannot function in the current regime and just say, look, I'm not doing too well. I don't know what's going on. Right? Can you tell me the next step in this problem? Like, what should we be looking at next? So yes, you can straight up say that. You would get docked for it, but at least you would be able to continue. Now, like I said, most times you won't be in such a dire mental state, such that you can still follow the brute force methodology, in which case you wouldn't just straight up ask for hints. And if you were to ask for a hint, you would ask for a very pointed hint. Like, for example, okay, look, I know that to do this palindrome, for example, let's say we're doing this problem here, right? Hey, I know, for example, we're not removing characters anymore. We need to modify a character. I'm really having trouble deciding if I should modify the left or the right character when we get a mismatch, right? If you can ask for a hint, ask for a very specific hint. At least that way the interviewer feels like, oh, you know what? This person's just stuck on this little small bounded logical problem. If I get him past this one, it's not gonna detract too much from the overall performance, right? So I would say yes, you can still ask for a hint, especially if you're stuck. If you're stuck, it's better to ask for a hint and get unblocked than just stay stuck for the rest of the interview, obviously, right? Although hopefully the interviewer won't just let you sit there for 30 minutes. So if you're gonna ask for a hint, ask for a small hint, ask for a bounded hint, and be very clear about what the hint should be, and be very clear about how that hint would help you, right? That way you can at least you can portray it as like, hey, this is a very targeted issue, and I can be unblocked once I get the answer. I think you should start with brute force and then go optimal one. That feels cheeky smart. You can start brute force. I would not start brute force either way though. I would start with just a regular solution. I don't know where you're from, but over here, nobody asks trick questions. If you're doing trick questions, then, all bets are off. But if you're not doing trick questions, it very much is the case that, like, you can get away with not starting brute force and then optimizing the problem based on the specific constraints of the interviewer. So that's going to depend on the interviewer. Yeah, well, I do these every Saturday. Does it not say in the description? What does it say? Oh, it says join Discord. Yeah, join the Discord. All right, let's see. What submissions have we gotten? Let's report this guy. Let's see. Nah. Where's this guy from? Okay. Understandable. Understandable. All right, let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. All right, this person says, C++, don't think I'm able to get interviews for web dev. Not sure capable of getting towards full stack. Most products are C++. C++ is an interesting stack to have. Only C++. I mean, that's going to be an issue immediately. Oh, you're doing ICPC. Okay, I see. That's some full stack. We got some stuff over here. What's going on? Okay. Okay. Oh, this is a game in C#. Okay. Measured by shrinking drawing calls from into one. Okay. Improve simulation stability. Okay, GLM is kind of cool. Bug tracker, build SQL like Google test. Okay. I mean, C++. There's not that many C++ roles. That's the first thing I'll say. And so whenever they do exist, it's very competitive. And usually with C++, it's usually not like raw C++. Like this is raw C++, from what I can tell. This is also raw C++. I mean, I know you have a build, you have a database, you have a testing library. This isn't raw C++. You have OpenGL, GLSL. I know this is some rendering stuff. This is actually pretty cool. By the way, I like the link. I think this is a good touch. Okay. Actually, if I were you, I would personally put the link on the left side so people can know immediately that there is something going on. This is not C++, and this is also C++ with the same thing. So these two are very, very similar projects. What I'm getting at is most of the time you're doing C++, it's for a job, it's usually part of a bigger ecosystem, right? So first of all, UI stuff, you gotta have Qt in there, right? If you're doing what's that huge Google C++ library thing called? I don't know. Like there's a lot. I'm not a C++ dev, so like I don't know all this stuff. But like usually there's a lot more stuff going on. It's not just like raw C++. From these two cases, you have this plus a rendering engine. I would say if you're dead set on C++, do a like more like generic project in C++. Do one that has some more applicability. That's your best chance for that. Otherwise, you're going to be competing for tight roles in C++. Now, I also saw that you have stuff going, like you have a back end. You have some stuff going on. If you're going for employability and not specifically C++ employability, like you should probably pivot about right now, about ASAP, and try to get a full stack web app on here, basically immediately. I mean, I'm not a C++ person. I can't really say much about these specific projects. I mean, I know about OpenGL. I've used that in the past as well. GLSL stuff I think is really cool. I think if you have a GitHub link here, which I assume this links to the actual rendering as well, like in your README, hopefully you have like a demo or something, right? This could be very cool. But again, these skills, I mean, this is basically this is basically math. And so if the C++ role isn't also, oh, we want C++ math, then it's going to be a tough sell. All right. All right, what's going on here? Oh, this one's familiar. Okay, this person said. This person was here like last week or something, maybe 2 weeks ago. What's changed since the last time? Let me see. I don't think anything's changed. Did I miss you last time or something? What's going on? Maybe I missed you. All right, I'll give you a goodwill review. All right, let's take a look. That's fine. Fine. Improved with this. Okay, that's fine. That's good. I think that's a good point. This, what do you have? This is 2 years ago. I will cut 2 points here. I will cut 1 point here. These two are relevant now. Okay. To present. Okay, so this is a big one. What is this? Cut that point. Please, what is this? Condition stacking. Replace both these points with a summary of what this thing actually is. This is good. This is mid. This is ongoing, so I think keep this around. But obviously, once you come back from Shopify, you have more stuff. All right. Backend software, fast-paced tech company, Seattle van. Wonder what companies are there. Okay. Architected deployed mode. Is this an adjective? What is that? Up to 9% cost savings over serverless. Okay. At scale, I will quantify that. Okay. These are all fine. I think our first point needs to be a bit improved. If these are the same project, I don't really know what this project is about. Okay. But with a weird SCP data, oh, my condolences, dude. What the fuck is this? A virtualization layer version. Oh my god, that actually sounds pretty good, but holy shit. Containerized at virtual. Okay. Containers virtualized. Okay. Did some Docker. Yeah, we had Docker over here, didn't you? Oh, Kubernetes. Same thing. These 4 points are all kind of mid, low key. Okay, how can we fix this? First point is good. Keep that one around. This is just I use Docker and it happened to save this much money, which is not your skill. Brewery waste reduction workflow. What does this mean? What brewery? Is this a thing in PySpark or something? Or is this literally like a place that has brewing? Oh, this is Okay, I see, I see. Wait, what happened? You unified this stuff using PySpark and SQL. Okay, you're forward deployed. This point consent. Okay, I see. Okay, you know what? This is fine. This is fine. SAP. Uh, reducing mean outage times by 15%. Outage of what? I think you need to be more precise about what the service is. Sure. Doesn't matter. Okay. What is going on here? I can't put my finger on it. What the fuck is going on here? Yeah, these are all fine. Wait, what's your goal again? Backend software engineering. Okay. Okay, I see now. Yeah, I don't see coding here. What are we doing? Like what is actually this? Okay, so extended is an interesting verb. Okay, I can believe that. Like this is infrastructure stuff. This is not coding. This is not coding. I don't know. I still don't know what this is, to be completely honest with you. This sounds like kind of coding, but I'm not sure. Virtualization layer is a very broad term. This is not coding. This might be coding, but it's like more like data science based. This is a prototype. This is not a coding. This is coding, but with a tool. This is a dashboard. This is not coding. This is not coding. This is not coding. I think you need more coding. I think you got to code something. And this is like, by the way, lowercase p, lowercase s. This is not coding. I think you need some coding. That's what I would say. All right. Dude, we are actually like 3 for 3 on redacted resumes today, dude. We're actually popping off. We're actually popping off here. Okay. What's the chat saying? Chat popping off? I actually have a resume question if you do not mind. I'm targeting general full stack backend suite. Currently have a mobile app on resume. Do you think I should remove it? I don't think you should remove it unless it's taking up room that could be better put elsewhere. Where do you submit resumes? Look description. Thank you. I have also heard that GitHub link logo messages mess with ATS. Maybe in 2017 and 2025, if your GitHub link mess with ATS, they should delete their entire company. All right, this guy's question is, yes, sweet is what I'm aiming for. I like how they answered affirmative. Thank you. Okay. What are we? York University. Welcome from York. Hello. Okay. What year are you in? 2028. So you're like second year. Okay. Ontario Public Service, York University. Okay, so you have this stuff going on. Let me see, what demographic are you going for? Okay, so in that demographic, let me look at your projects first. Okay, so in this demographic, you can get rid of computer organization assembly. Actually, you can get rid of all of these. Yeah, none of these are relevant. Show don't tell. Show don't tell. Okay. Okay. All testing so far. See if you can get some stuff that's not testing. I know your role doesn't say testing here, so I mean, if you're all doing testing, that's unfortunate. If you can get something that's not testing, make sure you kind of put yourself there. Okay. Research intern, present. Okay. Okay. Conformal prediction model uncertainty. Improving. Okay. This is cool. Nothing much to say. Okay, creator stake. Yeah, German creators. Okay. Yeah, that's a bit weird that you guys are using like slashes over here, but commas over here. So I would just use commas for everything. Keep it consistent. Load times of 20% through optimized web-based queries and okay. I'll give it to you. What I would like to see for these projects is I want to see some dates on them. The reason I want to see dates on them is because I want to know if I should care about your project work more, or about your testing work more. Okay? So I'll put some dates here. Not a big deal, but I will put some dates here, okay? That's chill. By the way, lowercase s. Huge. Whenever I see a resume with correct spelling. Holy cow. 2025 correct spelling. Tall ass these days, I know. What is this guy saying? Okay, go ban his ass. Alright, done. This is cool. This is cool. This is good. Okay. I mean, I think this. I mean, you're on the right track. Right now, your focus should be getting as much impact as possible on these two pieces of experience, right? And then after you're done with these two, then come back and ask what project should I be working on, what project should I be focusing on, etc. But right now, if you're working, especially you got two pieces of employment here, focus all your effort on that. That's going to be the most important, the most leveraged. All right. All right. What's going on here? All right, this guy's also repeat, I believe. Oh, is he? Maybe not. Okay. Whatever. Looking for summer 26. Only one process from 25 apps. 25 apps, one process is actually a pretty good ratio, by the way. 4%, that's a pretty good ratio. So don't be disheartened just because of that. If you're getting a 4% ratio, that's actually decent. That's usually not a resume problem. So don't over-index on that, okay? All right. Okay, so backend infra, Carlton. All right, hello Carlton. Color stack. What is this? National select black engineers, computer set. Okay, this is good. I think this is actually what I would like to see. Okay, now your courses, these are all generic, so it doesn't matter. You can put them on if you want. No one's gonna care. All right, RBC present. I like this. This is amplify or what? This might be amplify. Design incremental build system enterprise want to repose. Okay, this is good. Some infra stuff. This is a pretty heavy backend. Some infra, some backend. Mostly backend, it seems like, right? Mostly backend. Yeah, that's backend. That's needed here and there, some tooling. Okay. GSOC. Putting GSOC under experience is a bit brave, to be honest, but I can respect it. Okay. Okay. Wasn't Bioshock 200? Okay, this is good. I like this one. Bit of Rust is always fun, isn't it? Node.js API, Postgres. Design GraphQL. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is some club stuff. I like it. This is chill. I will probably put these two in a separate category, by the way. I don't think those would count as experience. All right, playlifts.com. This is good. Skill web scraper. 33 per hour. Ooh, 33 per hour is not bad, actually. Yeah, that's not bad at all. Okay, I like it. Good stuff. Yeah. Oh, this is good. I like this point. This is good. Huffman file compressor. This is like some classwork. Build a full stack web app. Okay. Let's take a look here. Okay. Lua Bash. Okay, this is good. I think this is a pretty strong resume. Most people, by the way, know what these three are, so they probably wouldn't put this as experience, especially now that you have RBC. RBC is really experience, obviously, so keep that up. RBC, I believe, is like what, 8 months or something, or is it 3 or 4? I forgot how long the terms are RBC, but I think this is definitely by far the best piece of experience you have. So make sure you keep this one up. And then this looks pretty solid, and this one looks pretty solid. So I think those are pretty solid stuff in the recent project wise. Good stuff. All right. Oh, what is going on here? Another Canadian university. From where is it? Let me see if I can guess where this is. Ooh, statistics and probability. No, this is too generic. All right. This guy's comment. I want to go into backend distributed roles. Hoping to land Fang. Call rates have not been that great. Hoping to go to Fang. Canadian Bank Gaming Company. If this is not Activision or EA, that might be a tough one. But let's take a look at what you got. Okay, need some dates. I know you have GitHub here, but put the dates here. Recruiters don't give a fuck about GitHub. This feels kind of mid. Okay, let me look at your experience. This is incoming. Okay. Okay, chill, chill. Yeah, this is some classic bank stuff here. Not bad at all. Not bad at all, to be honest. Apache Camel. I've not heard of Camel in a minute. My goodness. Yeah, I think this is actually pretty solid. This is pretty standard bank stuff. I think you described it pretty well. 4 months, this kind of output. Yeah, that's fine. That's not bad at all. I mean, you should be indenting these probably, like indent them one layer. Or don't put a period over there, or not period, an indent over there. I like how you're putting the versions of the software. HP Vertica. Okay, that's interesting. Sure. What is this? Okay. Spring Boot and Python Flask. Okay. Support Python. Okay. This is lacking some. This is lacking some stuff. So I think I think what I would do in this case is I would refocus your efforts on one project. I mean, okay, well obviously you're coming in, right? Coming in, do that first, right? And then project-wise, focus your efforts on one project because that will at least give you more ability to go deeper into one thing. Because right now you got two generic projects. These are not bad. Like they're pretty chill, but if you want to compete, it's more about having one really good one where you can demonstrate a lot of depth than having a lot of shallow ones. So I don't know if you heard that advice before, but if you haven't, I think that's the most important one to hear right now. All right, got one more resume in the list, and after that, I'm gonna go for lunch. So let's see what we got. Ooh, TMU. Could I see the web crawler project that he had? Just go back and stream. Yeah, this is why I stream on YouTube and not Twitch, by the way. I mean, I actually stream on both, but this is why I prefer YouTube over Twitch. Full stack backend developer around Toronto. All right. Ooh, why is this cut off? Is your PDF not rendered correctly? What's going on there? Okay. TME, let's take a look. What year are you in? Okay, you're early. You're first year kind of stuff. First year wise, let me take a look. First year wise. Yeah, first year wise. Okay, first year wise, coursework can stay on. Oh, yeah. There's a. Is it my download? No way. Yeah, your PDF has kind of screwed up. Like this is not from a download. Like all the stuff here is cut off. You gotta fix that. Oh, lowercase s, another one. Nice. Okay, good. Polymorphic user profiles. Co-develop a multi-tenant database system. Yeah, too many adjectives, man. Adjectives gotta mean something. Cloudinary. I never heard of that one before. Docker, Vercel-Fly. Oh, yeah, this is actually good. I like this. This is very strong. First year, right? Yeah, very strong. React Native. Yeah, this is cut off here again. React Native, Supabase, PostGIS, Redis, blah blah, blah blah. Okay, this is good. I'll put a GitHub or a date here. Pandas. Oh, lowercase p again. Holy cow! Even the first years are getting it right, guys. Come on, you guys gotta do better. Pilot-based ML. To process historical, extracting features. Okay, I mean this is a project, so I won't get in your ass. But obviously, if you're talking about a point like this, you gotta put the accuracy there, right? MindMate. This sounds like a pretty generic. This is a hackathon, maybe? What is this? I can't really tell. Okay. Yeah, yeah, this is okay. So React Native, yeah, Supabase over here. It's okay. This is Supabase. This is Spring Boot. This is Node. Okay, so I think you're actually quite set up for full stack backend. I'm sorry, for backend. Full stack. I'm looking at it. What's your experience? You have React. If I go to this company's website, will it look good? Okay, I'm not gonna go there, but ask yourself that will it look good? Yeah, this thing over here, you have React Native, so it's a website and an app, presumably a photo spots, right? Because you gotta go stuff, photo taking, right? What is this? What is the front end here? Oh, this is just back end, right? Okay, what is this? React. Right now, I think whether or not this is going to be good for backend, I think it's pretty good. No, I think it's going to be chill. Full stack, I think the front end is going to be a bit of a question mark. Not that you're lacking the tech, but that people will put a lot of like because you don't have links over here, right? There's no links over here. People put a lot of weight on this one over here, and I don't know exactly how much of this company's front end you built. Right, that part's not clear because it seems like over here you only built the onboarding system, and the onboarding system is probably not a very common thing that happens, right? I'm guessing. I actually have no clue what the hell this thing is. Okay, so I would say overall, if you can have some links here that prove, showcase, show don't tell, show the front end over here, I think it's gonna be a lot stronger. And by the way, usually I would also say something like, hey, this is a project using Supabase is fine, right? Over here because you're using Node, I think. You have Node, you have Express, MERN stack essentially, right? I think this is going to be fine. I think this is going to be fine in terms of full stack. Just be aware that when you're using generic stacks like MERN, right? It's a very generic, it's very typical. It's not going to stand out, right? Like look, you hit the baseline, right? Good job, you hit the baseline. Now to stand out, you want to specialize a bit more and do something a bit more unique. So one thing I've seen you do here already that's pretty cool is PostGIS. Now PostGIS, I think it's a very cool tech. I think that's something you could definitely leverage, and it's a unique one, right? What I do think detracts a bit from this project is that using Supabase. Supabase is very good for making things work. It's very bad for demonstrating the skill. So once you are starting to think about how you want to stand out in terms of resume, showcase skills, right? Then you want to stop taking shortcuts like Supabase, Firebase, etc. Yeah, bottom is hackathon. Yeah, I was being a bit polite. It's very obvious it's a hackathon. This is just abundantly obvious, right? But that's not a problem. It's not a problem. And also say, by the way, almost all recruiters and people like me, engineers, when reading these resumes, like we can tell what's a school product. Like we can tell what's a school product. We can tell what's a hackathon. We can tell what's like a, like a group stuff. Like that stuff we can all tell. Like don't bother hiding it. Anyways, but. I think this. You're like first or second or something. This is very strong for that, so I think you're on the right track. All right, let me see what happened on Twitch. Nothing happened on Twitch, obviously. Get that shit out of here. All right, that's all the resumes. That's all I have time for. So I'm gonna end the stream here. Thanks for tuning in.